was taken back to my prison. They called a guard. Surprisingly, when we were out of the torture chamber, the guard turned out to be an angel. He looked at me, and he put his hands like this. Hang on. I'll take care of you. And I held on. It was a struggle to make one step after another. But I hang on, and he grabbed me in my other arm, and he led me gently back to my cell. In that cell that night, I fell, so weakened by the blows, by the hunger and the thirst, and the many sleepless nights. When I fell, I remember my last words. I said, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for the privilege to suffer for your name's sake." And then I was disconnected. I was physically disconnected from the physical world. I'm not sure if I died or I simply passed out. I don't know. One thing I know. One thing I know. The silent moments were lovingly and gracefully disturbed by voices of angels singing. In the silence and the darkness of midnight hour, I was awakened by a heavenly choir singing. I heard with the choir all kinds of musical instruments playing. It was the best orchestra music I've ever heard. And then I wept. I opened my eyes. I wept. I began to be terrified. I was so scared, I cried out. I said, "Lord, am I blind, Lord? Did I lose my sight, Lord?" I could see nothing. I knew I opened my eyes, I could see nothing. All I saw was white light all around me. And I began to move my hands. And when I moved my hand, I wanted to touch my face. I never was able to touch my eyes to check if I was blind. I moved my hand and I felt a thickness of like clouds or glory. And the next moment, hands came upon my face so gentle. And those hands wiped away my tears and made me smile like this. And as he made me smile, he spoke to me. It was the voice that sounded like many waters. It sounded like the clapping of many thunders, and yet so gentle and soft. The words that continue to remain in my heart that I heard that morning. I saw everything. I was there all the time. Behold, you are not alone. Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. This is the price of the sacrifice of the position of prayer. The world may take away everything from you. The world may inflict all kinds of pain upon you. But know that I am the God that abideth in you. I had many moments of hardships in prison. Eventually, I was taken to the Supreme Court after having moved up from the lowest court of the magistrates. I was presented to the High Court of Saudi Arabia. Surrounded by Islamic fanatics, the High Court declared me guilty of blasphemy, and I was sentenced to death. was in the Supreme Court of Saudi Arabia, I was surrounded by militant Muslims. Everyone was yelling, "Death to the infidel, kill this Christian pastor." The noise was deafening, to say the least. You know how when 9/11 took place, and they showed some clippings of Muslims in Pakistan and parts of the Muslim world. Muslims were jubilant with a loud noise, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. When I saw that on TV, I had shivers all over my body because it reminded me of the High Court scenario when I stood and there was such a loud noise of Islamic militants crying out for my death. But in the midst of the noise around, once again I said, "Lord, help me." In the midst of the noise, there was a silent, still small voice that reigned above the noise.